Hi, everyone. Let me move this over a little bit. Give you guys a couple minutes to get in. I know we are just a touch early, and we've got a little bit interference here. Just give it a second. It'll work itself out. It always does. I know I'm going a little earlier than usual. I noticed that there are a lot of lovely, amazing card makers and card companies going live at 8. And I thought, well, if I go live at 6, then you can go and watch everybody. You don't have to pick and choose who you want to go watch live. So that was my thought process. So I decided that I would go live now, and then you guys can have some dinner, and then you pop back onto YouTube because there's all kinds of card makers and companies and different things that are doing lives tonight. A lot of companies, they just decided to pick the time that I pick. So I was like, yeah, I'll move. How's everyone doing? We do have a bundle tonight. Yes, I know that the screen is kind of being wonky. I'm hoping we can kind of work through it and it goes away and calms down. Usually it gets like this and then it goes away. So if you're here tonight, I'd love for you to say hello. We do have an amazing product bundle tonight, and I'm going to go through each and every part of that product bundle, and then we're going to make a beautiful, messy, fun kind of underwater scene card. So the bundle tonight is usually $126 retail, and the special price is $65, and you can find a link right to that bundle in the description box. It's there. It's ready to go. Let me see if I can help with the fuzziness a little bit. Logan, can you run downstairs quick? Remind your dad and your brother that the bandwidth. I don't think it's them, and I don't think it's going to change anything, but just in case it does. Thank you. Okay. Bundle tonight. We have this die set called Bottled Blooms. There's a little picture here. Let me just move. I keep all the extra dies I cut in this little pocket, so it's all together. So this is a photo of all the dies you get. It's a big die set. It makes this little bottle, the lid, butterflies, dragonflies, flowers, all those fun things. We are actually only going to use the jar, the little jar, and the lid for the jar. So we're going to have a little empty bottle in our scene tonight. Oop, just pop that right back in there. So that's the first part of our bundle for this evening, Bottled Blooms die set. Then we have the Under the Sea, the stamp set, and the coordinating dies. So I wanted to focus on the background techniques for the card tonight. So I did work ahead and off camera. Here are a whole bunch. I'll put them right up so you can see them, of the images from the stamp and die. So I stamped them and I cut them and colored them and added some glitter to them. And we are going to use them to make the scene for our card tonight. So there's all of those. There is a Simple Blend ink pad, the whole ink pad. This is the Biv one, which is blue, indigo, and violet. We're going to keep, for our usages, we're going to use the purple and the blue down here. Blue Shift crystals, Fallen Snow glitter glaze, blue violet aqua pigment, and for that, I have it right here on my little palette ready to go. so we don't waste it. And we might have to add some water to that. We'll see how it goes. And then there is acetate, not your mama's cardstock, and C cardstock. For the acetate, I've already gone ahead. You can't see it because it's clear, but I fussy cut the little jar for our underwater scene from the acetate. And we're going to start with our cardstocks. So I'm going to take this scrap and this cardstock. Hello, Amy. Hello, Nicole. Okay. Amy asks, is there a video somewhere for the current inspiration box? Christopher will go live tomorrow night at 8. And that would be a Christopher question because I don't know. If Candy or Heather or Penny pop in, then possibly Amy, they would know about the inspiration box. I don't know anything about the inspiration box. I'm just working with my discounted product bundle for tonight. So we're going to start with our card, Not Your Mama's cardstock. We might do a little finger painting tonight, which I know is everyone's favorite thing. I do believe we are definitely going to be doing some finger painting tonight. I do enjoy some finger painting. So I'm going to cut this down. This is going to be our card front. So this is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Hi, Karen. So nice to see you tonight. How are you doing? So that's going to be our card front. We're just going to leave that hang out right here. Now we're going to do a couple of strips of our second cardstock. So we're going to do 1.5 inch wide by 4 1/4 long. Let me catch that. There we go. And that we need 1, 2, 3 of those. One to put away for later. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're doing well. Hi, Alex. This is the C cardstock, which is in the bundle, but as an aside, C and Lagoon are probably my 2 favorite colors of British Memory cardstock. I just adore them, and I adore Rouge. You will probably, if you watch all my lives, I haven't been doing them very long, but I'm pretty sure that after I've done them for a couple of weeks, you'll see a theme kind of going where we mix Lagoon with Rouge, with C, with Phone Book a lot. Because those are the ones I tend to just gravitate towards. Hi, Ellen. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad all of you are here. I was a little worried when I switched the time up, but it looks like it was a good idea. So here is our plan. We're going to start with our 2 darkest colors because those are going to need to dry the longest. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to tear across the top of the Not Your Mama's cardstock. Then I'm just going to take my little finger and I'm going to rough off that edge. So we want this piece to be our darkest piece. So we want to come in with our blue violet. We want to come in with it straight. I'm not going to add, and this is probably even going to be a little more concentrated because I left this on my pigment palette. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use a paintbrush, but just so you know, when I did the mock-up or like the play one, the practice one this weekend, I finger painted it with my finger because I was at a crop and the bathroom was too far away. Okay, so I'm coming in and I want to make this as dark as I can. This is our dark color. So I'm not going to add any water to this unless I absolutely have to. I'm going to go ahead and paint this now. Interestingly enough, take a look at how the torn edge catches the pigment differently than the not torn edge. Isn't that cool? We want this to look like water, so we can do all the little fun swirls and stuff, and we are just fine. When I get to the end, I'll bring it up to the screen so you can really see how different the aqua pigment reacts between the the torn edge and the not torn edge. But it's really cool. And I'm not painting this like perfectly. I'm not being particular about it. I just want to get it as I want to get the pigment onto this piece of paper and have it be as dark as I can make it. Okay. So you can see here how dark that is. And look at how the torn edge, see how the pigment kind of catches that torn edge and the torn edge looks even more saturated. That was why we tore the edge, because it's going to look awesome when we're all done. Next, we are going to go ahead and clean up my mat here. This up. And I'm actually going to grab a piece of printer paper just to keep my work surface a little bit on the clean side, a little bit. Oh, thank you, Ellen. Ellen, Amy left an answer to your question. She said, I don't think it has officially launched yet. Maybe with Christopher tomorrow. She's not sure. So that's some information for you. All right. This is glitter glaze in Fallen Snow. My favorite glitter glaze in the whole world. And we are 100% going to get our fingers in here. Also, if you've not had the joy of smelling glitter glaze yet, glitter glaze is the most delicious, amazingly smelling mixed media there is. So I'm taking my finger and I'm just putting some of that glitter glaze on the edge of that torn piece. I don't want it to be too thick because I want it to dry pretty quickly. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of dab it into there. And yep, I am using my finger to do it. And then the glitter glaze is going to react with the aqua pigment too, which is going to give us a completely different look. So on each of these strips we're going to make, the blue is going to be in 3 different types of saturations. We'll have the full one saturation here, and then this here where the glitter glaze is going to kind of mix with that aqua pigment. And then where we tore that edge, it's going to be super dark. So I'm going to set this aside and it can just hang out there and dry. I am not 100% sure if this will dry by the time our time is up, but I'm going to do my best to pull it all together for you at the end. Glitter glaze is just one of those things. It takes a while, but I wanted to show you the process and pull it together if I can. I agree, Amy. Amy says glitter glaze has a distinct smell to me. It does have a distinct smell, and that smell is not bad. Like, it smells good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now. This is water. I also did this way because I wanted to show you how you can take these aqua pigments, put them on one of these palettes, which these blending palettes were in our bundle from last week. And this blending palette, we kind of let it sit for it sat, so it kind of got dry, and we had some real thick, heavy pigmentation in the middle, which is what I used to color the one panel. Now we're going to add water. And look at how it just reconstitutes. It's all back to the way it was before. So if you use a pigment palette, you never have to worry that you're putting too much medium on this, because if you put too much medium on it and it dries, you just hit it with some water and it comes right back. No problem. Okay, so we're going to take our second strip of paper and tear it just like we did with the first. But this time I want a slightly lighter color. So I'm going to go ahead and add some water and get a slightly lighter color. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint this. So we are using one color of aqua pigments. And we are going to get 3 different color saturations from it to create an ombre. So you don't need a whole bunch of colors. You need one color to create this ombre. I chose blue violet. There are, any kind of oceany type colors, or you could do like oranges and add the water and have like a sunset, or reds. I'm not even, you could do any color. You could do pinks. You could do pretty much any color you can think of can be ombre. Okay, so there's our second one. And I just want it to be a tad bit darker. So I'm going to drop some of that more heavy pigmented, which is up here. This is the heavy pigmented color. Alex says, that's such a pretty idea. Thank you, Alex. I think it's a pretty cool idea too. Just the fact that you can do that, right? You have the control to be able to kind of add water or saturate, or, let it dry and be more saturated. So I think this is good. I'm going to double check here and make sure it's just a little bit. It doesn't need more water. It's not the same saturation. We don't want the same saturation. And I'm also using Not Your Mama's cardstock, which means I just thought it could be a little bit lighter. And so I hit it with some water, and this paper is going to take it and be perfectly content. So there's our next, kind of just a little lighter. We're going to go ahead and use this one next. We're going to do something a little bit different. So this is the C. And for this one, instead of painting on the edge, I'm going to take the Roy G. Biv ink pad and I'm going to smoosh the torn edge right into that ink pad. Just right into that ink pad. And that's going to give us that gorgeous color just on the edges. And you could move it. You could also use, like if you wanted to use a blending brush, something like that, you certainly could. I personally was okay with it just being like this. Then I'm going to take a little water and just whatever aqua pigment is left on my brush. I'm not going to add any more pigment. I have a really small amount on my brush and that's all I need. And I'm just going to go across this top, which will give us yet another look, yet another saturation of color because we have the colored cardstock behind it. A little bit lighter. And then we have our third color to add behind all three of those. The next one, I'm going to basically do the same thing, but I'm going to do it just on white. So I'm going to the edge with the ink pad because this is our lightest color for our ombre. And then I'm going to come in again with that brush that has barely any ink on it. I'm going to add just a smidgen of water to get everything moving. Again, this just has just a wash, very small amount of ink. And this is going to be our lightest one. Just a small wash. And then you can kind of see here are each of our layers. And I'm going to go ahead and add the glitter glaze to all of them. But I think I am going to kind of put this together and then add the glitter glaze at the end, just in case it doesn't have time to dry completely. Here is this pigment palette, right? And it still has all this awesome ink on it. I'm not going to lose it. I'm just going to set it aside and let it dry, and it will be fabulous. Drop my paint into my little stencil. Technically a stencil cleaner, but I use it for an everything cleaner. So we'll clean up. Alex is awesome. Thank you, Candy. I know I started earlier than I was going to, but I'm glad you made it. Hi, Kate. Alex just made a very good point. She said, for those starting out with mixed media or crafting, these sorts of projects are perfect. Yes, if you've never tried anything messy, if you've never given messy things a go, this is a perfect way to get started. This is a great, great, great beginner project. Okay, so here are our 4 ocean layers. Now, I have a question. There's 10 of us here, so if we get 10 good answers to this question, then majority rules, because I don't know how this goes. Underwater scene. Do we want our ombre to go dark at the bottom and up to light like this? Or do we start light and then go darker at the top? What do you guys think? What do you think is the best ombre to do this? Because we can do, I mean, people do both, but we want an underwater scene. So do we go light to dark or dark to light? Candy says dark at the bottom. Kelly says light at the top. Okay. Amy says dark at the bottom. Okay, that's it then. I was so confused when I was like making up the little mock-up card. I'm like, I don't remember how this is supposed to go to look right. So I came into this knowing I was going to take a poll. Oh, Amy, be sure to scroll up. Candy left say this 10 times fast. Information about the inspiration box. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to take wet glue and I am just putting it at the bottom of each of these strips. Just the bottom. I am leaving this top piece open so that we can tuck things in, including our other colors. You're going to see me working very carefully through this because I'm working with things that are still wet. And when it's all done, I also want to still put glitter glaze at the tops of all these colors like I did for the first one. I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to do this in such a way that I don't get glitter glaze all over my fingers. That's the goal. We're definitely going to be messy tonight, but I'm trying my hardest not to get glitter glaze everywhere. So I'm going to pull up the next layer. This right here is why I decided to wait on the glitter glaze till I had these pieces in. So I could manipulate them and pull the layers up. You guys are the best. Thanks for explaining this to me. I knew if I thought about it long enough, I would figure it out. But I made the little mock-up at a crop that I was attending. And I think I kept getting distracted and I just could not figure out how this went. But now that you're all commenting, I'm like, yeah, that's right. Obviously. Silly me. Oh, well. Okay. Get this in here. Our last one, pop it right in. Okay. How cute is that? My hands are all gluey. Amy said she's ocean obsessed. Well, then this bundle and this live is perfect for you. Candy says, merrymaking event is this weekend, so the store is probably busy preparing for it. Yes. Well, I know Christopher posted on Facebook today that they're doing work at the store too. So I'm sure that is not helping either. Okay. So now I'm going to do all of the glitter glaze, because we can certainly create our scene on top of it, and we will be just fine. I didn't want to smush it too much. And yes, I'm using my fingers. I truly believe that using your fingers is lovely. For some things. There are some things I will never use my fingers for. But adding fun glitter glaze to the tops of our ocean waves is one of those things I don't mind. Okay. I am also doing this because I want to see how I'm like moving my finger in a circle. That will translate onto this when it dries. Like it will look, you'll have these like swirly bits as the end result, which I absolutely love. And I want that kind of swirly oceany feeling that you get. Glenda says messy hands means a great time. Yes, yes, this is super fun. I am probably not the only person here who was a big fan of finger painting in kindergarten, right? Definitely. I was a huge fan of finger painting. So I'm going to set this aside. We're going to let this dry. It's not going to dry completely, but it will dry enough so that in a couple minutes we can come back and manipulate the rest of our scene. So I want to mock the scene up because I want to figure out what pieces are going to go behind my little acetate jar and what pieces are going to go in front. And it's going to be very important that some things end up on top, because we need a way to adhere some of these things down. So when I did the mock-up, I had it like the jar was like on its side. But what I'm thinking is, what if we did a little scene where one of our little mermaids was stuck in the jar? Is that too much? And then we could do a little bit like this. And then we could have this little one over here. We could make this scene however we want. Maybe the dolphin come. Dolphin's going to come and help us. What else do we have here? A little clam. We have this really, really gorgeous jellyfish. I love how this one turned out. And let's see, this one and this one. You see how it's like, it's a little bit glittery, because I hope you can see that. I took some of that glitter glaze and I put it right over the top. So it has a little bit of glitter too. Okay, let me catch up on our little and all the comments here for a second. Alex says you make that wet glue thing look so easy. Well, you know. Amy says, will there be a photo in the Facebook group when it dries? I'd like to see this rolls up close. Yes, Amy, there will be. So usually I make every one of these projects I make live on Monday, and then I post them in the Facebook group on Friday that week. The finished project goes up Friday. I can always go earlier. That's not a problem at all. So if you want to see it quick, that's fine. So we're definitely not going to be able to fit everybody on in our little scene here. So we can, and I really want to do this dolphin because I'm thinking I'm going to hack him off right here and like tuck him in. So it looks like he's jumping out of the water. Have him jump out of our water right beside our sentiment. Like, I think that will look super cute. So if this is our scene that we're going to go with, everybody like this one? I think it'll fit nicely. We might have to trim off, like we may have to trim off a little bit, but that's okay. I don't think that'll look bad. So here's what I'm thinking for the scene. Alex says no such thing as too much. Nikki asks, which mermaid set is that? Nikki, this is the Under the Sea set. And the bundle for tonight has the whole set and the coordinating dies in it. It's a big 6x8 set. It has lots and lots of dies and everything. So that's that's what mermaid set is it. And Amy asks, can you post it earlier, pretty please? Yes, Amy, I can post it earlier. That is, I'm A-okay with that. So let's talk about gluing because we're using acetate, right? So if everybody thinks that this is a good scene, do you guys think I need to move anything anywhere? Are we good? I know that Restream and is not being nice to us because it keeps going all blurry. I'm sorry. Nikki says, oh, okay, I have a mermaid set from a few years ago. Yeah, this is a newer set. Candy said it came out in July. So it's so cute though. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right. So here is, we have to transfer here to here. I want to make sure that I have things that are glued on top of the acetate because acetate is clear and we're going to need a way to adhere that acetate down. So we are definitely putting the little dolphin up here. We are definitely putting our little guy right here. And I'm being like super careful because you know the glitter glaze is not dry. Oh, okay. Andy says Reem doesn't like the white. She says put a piece of black, like a piece of black cardstock behind it. Okay. I can do that. Hold on. There we go. Hopefully that helps a little bit. All right. So let's get our little guy here. We're going to put him right there. Make sure I'm giving. I'm going to pop him behind our acetate. Okay. And then for the acetates, we're going to take this little bit and we're going to adhere our these pieces on top of the acetate, and then we have a spot where we can flip over and glue the acetate to the card. So we're going to put our little clam here. Candy says, try that and see if it will refocus. You might need to bring something up close. Okay. Something's up close. Thank you, Heather. Heather posted a link to our bundle for tonight. Nikki said she's going to be in Pennsylvania from November 17th to December 1st. What part of Pennsylvania are you going to be in, Nikki? Thank you, Heather. I'm glad you're joining us. Okay, so then we'll put this little guy here. So then we have our little jar with our little acetate. And then we can flip this over, put the glue where we already have it covered up, and then we can put the acetate right down onto our card. And then you're not going to be able to see the adhesive. And this little thing is going to go off the edge just a smidge. And I'm just pushing down where the glue is. I'm going to let the rest kind of just lay and do its own thing. I have a sister that lives in Williamsport. That's a while. That's a couple hours from me. And it's really a couple hours from the store. But have the best time. So we're going to put the little lid to our jar right here. And then have our other little mermaid, and she can go right here. I'm not going to close this poor mermaid into the jar. He's just going to be hanging out in there. He can get out at once. I don't want my scene to look like a hostage situation. Okay. And I'm just holding this a little bit because when you have wet glue and you're adhering it to mixed media, aqua pigments, glitter glazes, all that stuff, sometimes your glue doesn't want to stick right away. It wants to give you a hard time. So to encourage it to be nice and sticky and to stay, I'm going to hold it down a little. Now we are going to end up cutting our little mermaid off, but you know, that's all right. I just realized that, you know. Okay. Oh, that's so sweet. Nikki said she gets to see her nephew. He's 2 months old. So I'm going to flip this over and we're going to trim off the edges. I do like the look of having the scene kind of go off the edge of the card. I think that is pretty cool. So I'm not too worried about her little hand. Okay. We did it. I'm so proud of us because all that glitter glue is still wet and we still managed to get everybody in the scene. Okay. So then when we put it onto our card, we have this nice white border and all that glitter glaze is going to make, I keep saying glitter glaze is going to make it nice and sparkly. So now up here, we can add our sentiment. We have lots of sentiments here. So I used Sending Oceans of Love, which will fit quite nicely. My favorite sentiment on this stamp set, and the reason I went ahead and actually ended up like the sentiment that sold me on getting this stamp set when it was released was this one, where it says, "Be my squishy." If you've ever seen Finding Nemo, which was one of my kids' favorite, you understand the need to get the stamp that says, "Be my squishy." Then we have Happy as a Clam and Swimming By to Say Hi. So Be My Squishy will work. Sending Oceans of Love is a little long now because I put the dolphin there. This says Swimming By to Say Hi. That works perfectly. And we also have Happy as a Clam, which also works. So which sentiment do you guys think we should pop in here? Swimming By to Say Hi, Be My Squishy, or Happy as a Clam? Does anybody have any ideas? Yeah. Aw, we used to call Alex used to call her son Max Squishy. Kate says, magical skills getting this made with wet glue. Well, thank you. I was just very, very careful. Oh. Yes, I love Finding Nemo too. I'm a big Finding Nemo person. So does anybody have a sentiment? The squishy one? Alex says squishy. I think squishy too. I do love squishy. All right, let's do that. Do the squishy one. All right. So I am going to go ahead and free range stamp this using the Simple Blend. I love these stamps. These stamps. Let me just toss that out there. It takes a lot. I'm a little bit of a picky person with stamp pads and inks and all that. I have my favorites. I don't like to deviate from my favorites. So when I started using my Bruce Monroe stamp pads, I admit I was a little concerned I wouldn't like them, but I love them. I have both of them, the red one and the blue one, and they're fabulous. I love them. So I'm going to take the little squishy free range stamp this. This ink is super nice. It's fabulous. I really, really, really enjoy this stamp set or these ink pads. I especially like how they stamp. So when I free range stamp without my MISTI, I give it a little wiggle, make sure all of the stamp has made contact with all of the paper. And then I patiently sit here for an extra beat to make sure that all of the ink has gone ahead and collided, attached, touched my paper. And that way I get much better stamping and I get less mistakes. And in this particular case, a mistake would be really bad because our card is completely done. If I had smooshed that ink at all, we would be cutting another little sentiment strip and cutting this up because I've already done all this. Okay. Last little funness in our kit tonight is blue shift crystals. Because I just can't without some crystals. So let's see, where do we want to put some crystals? Little triangle tray, please. If you have stuck with me this far, I love you. You are my friends. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for hanging out with me on Monday nights while we make messy things and get all creative. Okay. So, let's do some crystals up here. Here I am, my wet glue tricks again. Let's add some crystals to our jellyfish because he's super cute and needs a little sparkle. Let's do 3 down here. And why don't we do a couple right on top of our little jar with our little mermaid guy in it. I will post if Bruce Monroe's Facebook group. I will post all of the close-ups, lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures. So you have those for reference. Since Restream is not cooperating at all for tonight's project. We have had some really nice clear ones. We've had some not so clear ones. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I did the best I could from my end. Anything I had control over, I did. So can never have enough sparkle, says Alex. And Alex is correct. So the glue will dry. You'll be able to see the white glue on here, but it's dry. Just putting this onto a card base. I love the Bruce Monroe card bases. I buy the big 50 packs because they're amazing and it is super duper easy to get a bunch of them. Oops, forgot the spots by the dolphin for this. So I'm pushing down where I can here. Again, we're creating a card while the glitter glaze is still wet. So. And all the glue is still wet. But I forgot to add the little gems up by my dolphin. So let's get him added. Let's get those added. With my little pickup tool. Okie dokie, there we go. So tomorrow, when this is all dry, depending on how it dried and how things are attached, I might come in and like this one is sticking up a bit, and I'm not sure if it needs glue or if it's gonna, attach itself to the glitter glaze underneath it and just be good. Same with her little head a little bit. But there is our card for tonight. Hopefully you can see it well. So cute. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you have learned a little something new, a little new technique, something you can take back to your craft room and use. You can see all the sparkle. And that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. I always love being the Monday girl, right? I get to kick off your week of inspiration. Christopher will be live tomorrow. Wednesday is live packing, and you get to hang out with Jess, Chris, and also Candy goes live Wednesday night at 8. I'm not sure what she has planned for you, but it's going to be amazing. So come back, check it out. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, evening. I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye.